and welcome to Quays News.
Our top stories today. If you had to save a life, could you do it? The emergency services take us through how to be prepared right here in Salford.
Today what we've tried to simulate is a small number of people on the initial phase getting contaminated, having to be decontaminated from that substance.
423 miles is long enough, but imagine doing it on a rickshaw bike. And later Charlie will be giving us all the latest wizardry on the brand new Fantastic Beasts film. Good afternoon, this is Quays News on the 21st of November.
Our top story. Broadband provider TalkTalk will be moving from its headquarters from London to Salford. Hundreds of roles will be relocated to its Salford's office, where its business and technology teams are based in 2019. It said transferring its main office out of London was part of the strategy to simplify its operations. The firm added new jobs will be created in Salford next year. 3/4 of students want another say in the Brexit referendum, that's according to fresh data. It comes at a time known as the crucial 7 days for the Prime Minister after bringing a withdrawal bill to the Cabinet.
The study by Dig In surveyed 77,000 students and found that 1 in 4 students support another poll. Joining us now via Skype is Paul Treadaway, a writer for the popular student newspaper, The Tab. Now, Paul.
Hello, you all right?
You're right.
Well, Paul, isn't
Hi.
this surprising?
I don't think it is surprising actually that students want a second vote on the EU referendum. I think it's clear from polling that's been done since the referendum that young people are overwhelmingly in favour of staying in the EU. But what I think is surprising that is that there hasn't been a grassroots movement amongst university students or young people so far to really push for a second vote or anything like that. So I think that is what's been surprising, that there hasn't been that movement so far.
And Paul, why do you think there's such a dislike towards the whole situation from students when it's their future that's shaping?
I think there's often the stereotype that young people are bored of politics. I think we're slowly changing that stereotype, but I think this whole process has been so drawn out, so long. It's dominated the news, obviously, and I think people are getting bored of it, adults and young people, and I think it's hard to stay interested when it just seems to be carrying on for such a long time. But hopefully now, obviously I wrote my article for the Tab in September, and a lot's changed since then. So hopefully we'll be moving forward into a period of the negotiations on Brexit where adults, people in general society, but young people and students especially are taking much more of a decisive role.
And Paul, did you vote? And if not, what would you have voted?
I wasn't old enough, unfortunately, to vote in the referendum in 2016 by about a year or so. But I would have voted Remain personally. But at the moment, I think the priority is to get a good Brexit deal. I think you have to respect the vote of the people. You have to respect the democratic right of people to decide what they want to do. And I think we need to enact on that. But also we need to have a deal and not crash out with no deal at all, and protect the economy and jobs and also the UK's place in the world.
Well, thank you. That's Paul Treadaway there from the Tab.
Cheers.
Now, when it comes to a chemical attack, would you be prepared? We went to long training exercises conducted by Manchester's emergency services to try and find out more.
A scene that wouldn't look out of place on a film set. Members of the public being put into chemical decontamination suits. But this is merely a training exercise for Greater Manchester Fire and Rescue.
As you can see, we've got this fantastic facility from Salford University that they've let us utilise today. And what we're trying to replicate is a scenario where we've got some animal rights protesters that have got their information wrong and come to this site thinking it's a testing facility when actually it's a decommissioned area of the university.
And the purpose of that is to facilitate and test the response for Greater Manchester Fire and Rescue Service to turn out to a Jessup scenario to test the contamination of people.
Criminal act is taking place. Somebody's come onto the site with an unknown chemical and contaminated some workers working on the site. And the purpose today is to get the emergency services down, all in one location, and try and deal with the incident that's unfolding.
This exercise today has been all about how prepared Greater Manchester Fire and Rescue are to adapt and react to unusual emergency situations. With the threat of chemical attacks rising in the UK, these exercises are becoming more and more important.
It's absolutely invaluable. If you think what we don't want to be doing is going through this for real without having rehearsed it, practiced it, worked with our partners. So these exercises are our opportunity to really refine what we do.
So what we're going to do is set up a mass decontamination sector.
We've tried to simulate a small number of people having to be decontaminated from that substance, testing that substance, and the interagency work we do with our colleagues from Greater Manchester Police, the local authority and North West Ambulance Service.
Remove themselves from the building, remove the clothing, and then we want to remove the contaminant from them.
This is the walk that victims would take, assisted by fire crews in their full decontamination.
Really appreciate all that enthusiasm. Thanks everyone.
A successful exercise undertaken today, but officials will hope it's one that won't need to be recreated in the real world. Tim O'Callaghan reporting for Quays News, Salford.
Exercises like this are used by emergency services up and down the country to prepare for all possibilities. Our reporter Tim O'Callaghan went out to find more. Apologies for that, we had a technical issue. Now, the One Show's Rickshaw Challenge returned for its 8th year this month and saw 6 teenagers cycle 423 miles from Calais to Salford, raising money for BBC Children in Need.
Each participant had been supported by Children in Need from the projects and took turns to pedal the custom-made rickshaw bike. A record-breaking £50.6 million has been raised for BBC's Children in Need this year, taking the overall donation to a total of £1 billion since it began the annual fundraisers in 1980.
Seeing all the kids across the finish line today.
Oh, really good. Especially considering their journey all the way from Calais, it's been really, really heartwarming, I guess it has been, yeah.
Fantastic, it was lovely, it was really an experience. And what's been your favourite part about today?
What's the presenter's name?
Matt Damon. Matt?
Yeah.
Your favourite part was Matt?
Yeah.
Yeah, you spoke to him, didn't you? And we even handed over some money that we've raised.
Still to come, we'll be talking about new films and trailers.
And I'll be here giving you the weather report today, live from Media City.
If you're a fan of the Wizarding World, Eddie Redmayne will not disappoint you. Charlie, tell us a bit more about the new Fantastic Beasts, The Crimes of Grindelwald.
What? I've not got a camera on me.
You told me.
I've not got a camera. Last week, we had the release of the long-awaited sequel for Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, Crimes of Grindelwald. We saw Eddie Redmayne return as Newt Scamander, as well as Johnny Depp return as Gellert Grindelwald. The movie has thus far generated $67 million in its first week. Now, this is one of the most anticipated films of the entire year. I think that this film had a lot of potential to live up to after the first Fantastic Beasts. However, there were a few issues with this film. That, for example, Jude Law was brought in to play Albus Dumbledore, which I thought was a fantastic casting, and he did a fantastic job. The only problem was there wasn't enough Jude Law in this film to really go around. Also, there is a few plot twists in this film that you want to keep...
Going to talk about the first film.
There's a lot of things that we need to talk about this film, but we're going to have to move on. Let's go on to Wreck-It Ralph 2, otherwise known as Ralph Breaks the Internet. This is one of the most highly anticipated films this week, with Creed 2 also coming out this week. Wreck-It Ralph generated $471 million at the US box office. Ralph and Vanellope will return in the depths of the internet to find a new adventure. Creed 2 will also be out later this week, with the original Creed being part of the Rocky series, and Michael B. Jordan and Sylvester Stallone will be starring in this film.
Now, today is World Television Day, and we wanted to celebrate this on Quays News. We sent out Will Dixon to some of your favourite television moments.
Today is World Television Day, and what better place to commemorate this than at Media City, UK. To our right are BBC studios, where programmes such as Match of the Day are recorded. Over there are ITV. Across the river is the set for ITV's Coronation Street, the longest running soap opera in British television. Behind me are the Dock 10 studios, where you see programmes such as The Voice and The Jeremy Kyle Show recorded. It truly is the home of some of the most iconic television moments, but we wanted to ask you, what are some of your favourite moments from television?
My favourite TV show is probably Coronation Street, because it keeps my wife quiet.
Grey's Anatomy.
Okay, how come it's your favourite moment?
It's just about real life situations, about love, family, heartbreak, career progression, feminism. It's just about really great stuff that I love.
I quite like anything comedy related. I really like The Office, but I've not seen the UK one, but I really like the US one.
Do you have a particular moment from it that really stands out to you?
When Christina tells, if you not watch Grey's Anatomy, Christina's like a great woman in Grey's Anatomy, when she tells Meredith that Derek is not the son that she is.
There's like a stressful situation in the office and there's a fire and everybody, it's all a bit frantic, so that's probably the funniest moment.
When Ross and Rachel were on a break. Pretty funny, like that.
I asked on social media for some suggestions and had a great range, starting with some classics such as Del Boy falling through the bar in Only Fools and Horses.
Play it nice and cool, son. Nice and cool, you know what I mean?
And also the very emotional ending to Blackadder the Fourth.
Good luck, everyone.
Moving into more modern times, we had the ending to Breaking Bad and the tram crash from Coronation Street, which was filmed at the Old Granada Studios here in Manchester. There were also a few suggestions for non-fictional television, such as Susan Boyle's Britain's Got Talent audition.
I dreamed a dream in time gone by.
And also, who could forget Theresa May's dancing? Some truly iconic moments that will stick with us forever. Will Dixon, Quays News, Salford.
Thanks, Will. That was lovely to see.
So what is your favourite Television World Day moment?
My probably favourite moment was Theresa May dancing on live television. Laura, what was yours?
I think mine was definitely when Adele sang Someone Like You on the Brits. That was just iconic for me because it was like her first song that she really kind of did that really brought people to get to love her, you know what I mean? And it was a really emotional moment, but there you go.
I get you. Now, let's head to Lucy for the weather. What's it looking like today, Lucy?
Hello and good afternoon to a rather windy and very cold day here in Salford. Temperatures are expecting to rise though to a maximum of 6 degrees, and as we head on into this evening, temperatures will be expected to lower to about -2, so make sure you wrap up. We'll be expecting some sleet and snow on higher ground. As we move into the weekend, the temperatures will be expected to rise to about 8 degrees. However, do expect some scattered showers and sunny intervals. Now, there's going to be a football game on Saturday at Old Trafford, Man U v Crystal Palace. Make sure you wrap up warm for that. And for those competing in the Heat and Half Marathon on Sunday, good luck. That's it from me. Back to you in the studio.
That's all from us this week on Quays News.
Don't forget to follow us on our Facebook and Twitter.
And make sure you have a great weekend.
Have a lovely weekend. Goodbye.
Goodbye.